All right, looks like everything's working. You guys will have to let me know if volumes are sounding good and whatnot. Um, so jumping back into Subby tonight, gonna be covering some of the recent updates I've done to the game design document. That's kind of what I'm going to be tackling first here. As a heads up, I have used a little bit of AI to go through and make sure everything's looking good and flesh out some more design stuff. So let's jump into it. So first off, it created this document here. So we've got a game design document. It's got the table of contents and whatnot. So we got an overview, like the core gameplay loop, we made a design philosophy, progression systems, whatnot. The big things I want to go over first are the equipment and crafting, the creature collection, and I guess world and exploration, economy and balance, like kind of the stuff here in the middle. So I guess let's jump into that. You can see though, just looking at it here, in VS Code we can actually do a nicer kind of table of contents view and view the markdown a little bit better. But this is kind of the primary loop here. So we've got dive, explore, collect, return, trade, upgrade, and repeat. So that's kind of what we're going to be making sure things are good with. One of the big things here is when we're trading for stuff, I added in this process for materials. So instead of just collecting creatures and then exchanging them for money, we're also going to be expanding this to get materials, expand the basically what the player can carry on them. So there's some examples down in here, but it's gonna be like scales and that kind of stuff with fun names. And then as you progress through the game, you can craft and purchase better equipment, so better hulls, engines, cargo bays, whatnot. And then those are gonna let you be able to dive deeper. So let's take a look here into what we got. So you can see it went through and pulled out some of the stuff that we have here. So this hull can only go this far down. This engine is normal speed and whatnot. It's got the progression curve. So basically there's a tutorial, this first part, and then kind of the progression of the game as we get into it, which is kind of cool. It's nice having all this information a little bit more planned out. Let's see what we got here. This right here, the depth zones, there's going to be different areas. That was something that I kind of planned on doing at some point. But one of the big thing is as soon as you start going deeper, there's going to be a layer of darkness that goes over the screen, and you have to upgrade your lights and stuff like that. So this is just kind of a recap, since the last time I did a video on Subby was back in January. So yeah, this is kind of the depth zones here. We are going to do the pressure damage. So once you hit whatever the max depth is on your hole, you're going to start taking damage until you can get back up to the safe zone for that hole. Let's see what else is in here. There's going to be equipment tiers. Added in a few ones. So we had dark matter, but I told it I wanted a few more. So we got quantum, celestial, void, and transcendent. So these are going to require some other materials once you start getting past Hydra. So you can start purchasing standard all the way up to ultimate, and then once you start getting in past this level, you're gonna have to start making sure you collect certain creatures to start expanding what you can upgrade to. So it's gonna give a little bit more playability to people that need to collect stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's see. So this is kind of jumping into like the hull, the engines, the fuel tanks, cargo bays. I'm going to add a battery in here. So it's going to be something that the engine's also going to need to make sure it powers. So if you're not using lights or anything, it's just going to be sitting there idle until you actually start using it. Finding focus. How many creatures in the game? At the moment, there's only a few, but there's plans in here for upwards of 100 with bosses and stuff like that. So if there's any suggestions you have that are kind of play on words or stuff like that, I'm all ears, and we might even be able to toss a reference to Tashio in here too if you really want to. So maybe I can chat with you offline about doing that. Let's see what else. We got shields, and let's see. Looks like this one. It's saying we can convert the damage to energy. So instead of just taking straight damage, we can drain the battery too. And there's gonna be items to let you recharge the battery while you're at the lower depths, kind of like what Motherload let you do. So let's see what else we got here. We got money. So this is going to be the basic currency. And we got our crafting materials. So here's kind of the funny names it came up with. So scales are just called scale mail. There's like bladders of fish, shell shock, soft serve, just kind of funny names. So these are the like jellyfish and stuff like that. And then there's like a bioluminescence area. So we got the glow getter, like eels would drop shock value. Might go through and rename some of these. Just these are kind of top level. Just kind of pre-planning names. Let's see what else we got here. There's boss exclusives. So these celestial drops, void vows, transcendent tokens, and then environmental. So if there's a kind of lava area, we've got hot rocks. There's a frost area, so it's got this ice baby. Always rename these too. Let's see. We've got the crafting system, the cargo system. I don't know if I want to be using slots for the cargo. I like doing it with the weight instead. So if you have a bunch of jellyfish, it's gonna keep that. So I can go in here and actually just remove those, and you can see it updates right there. Let's see. That looks good. Don't need the slot stuff. Let's do this. Cool. Yeah, so creature, we're shooting for about 100, and then just for an initial testing and whatnot, it's about 20 to 30 with some bosses. And then we've got different creature rarity types. And then, let's see. I'm planning on adding in like a scanner system so we can do discovery. Kind of like, I think Subnautica was one that I played that had this, where you can go up to a creature and kind of scan the creature and get some information on them. So that's kind of what this one is. There's going to be ways to stun creatures and collect them. And then there's I'm planning on adding in some weapons to where you can take on the bosses and stuff. So there's going to be a live capture versus a defeated capture. And it's another thing for kind of collectors that want to try and 100% the game. So that's what that is. And then once we start getting into the material drops, that's going to be when you take creatures to the life exchange. You're going to be able to get a random drop depending on what the creature is. And then the other way to get a drop is if you were to knock out a creature while you're swimming around. So that's kind of what the drop system is here. So I need to get the drop tables in as well. That's going to be something I'm working on tonight. And then let's see what else we got in here. There's different milestones, and here's kind of fun names for the creatures. I told them to use quirky puns, so it's kind of what we've got going on here. And then once I get a little bit further in development, I'm planning on having... So let's see, let me jump to this view real quick. So this is the main game screen. So when you start the game, it's gonna look something more like this. And when you leave this screen, I'm planning on having it take you to like a space station that's sitting above Europa. And you can pick different areas on Europa. So it came up with the Rift Valley, the Crystal Caverns, Frozen Trench, the Bioluminescent Forest, the Abyssal Trench, Volcanic Vents, Electric Fields, and the Dead Zone. So each one of these has like different depths that you can go on and kind of go from there. So we'll see what it looks like the more I get into getting to this point, but this is kind of the direction I'm heading here. There's also going to be some area unlocks, so depending on how you go through the game, it unlocks new areas. We got environmental hazards, so the heat damage, ice damage, electrical damage, like that kind of stuff. That's going to be something we're going to need to program in. We got the economy imbalance here. This was another big one that I wanted to touch on. So based on the type of creature, you're going to be getting different monetary value back when you go to exchange them. So that's kind of what this little section here is. And then we've got the equipment costs, so kind of a range on how we want to price things out. Let's see what else we got here. We got the fuel economy, the trip profitability. So this would be if you do a dive and then come back up, kind of how much money you're going to be making roughly per dive. So we'll see how accurate this is. I think this is just good planning, but we'll see. What else we got? There's progression accelerators. So this would be kind of cool to do a depth bonus. So if you hit a new depth record, you get a little bit of a bonus. So we could do every 100 meters or something, you get a depth bonus. Rarity streaks, so maybe it's when you come back up to the life exchange and go to process stuff, it'll ding and start saying, oh hey, you've got 3 rares in this dive, something like that. So that's kind of what this section is. I don't want to do gore in this game. I kind of want to keep it somewhat kid friendly, but we can kind of stun them and have them floating around, and you can go capture them. But maybe shoot lasers at them and just have them get stunned instead of like a gory dead fish. Probably wouldn't be as good. I guess it really depends on who's gonna be playing it, so we can play with that when we get there. Here's the weapon system that was kind of planned out. So there's like tractor beam, stun lasers, and then some ammo based stuff, so like harpoons and net launchers. So we'll see where these are at. The energy based weapons are also going to tie to the battery, so we'll have to make some events that say, hey, drain the battery X amount. That shouldn't be too bad. Then we got the creature AI and the boss encounters, so some fun stuff in there. Don't want to get too far into spoilers or anything, but it's kind of what this document is, and just wanted to start covering that. But yeah, let's jump into some code here and actually see where we're at. So jumping into the game, I'm currently running Unity 6.2. We can hear that the music's working and whatnot. I just hit the live shop, or the live processing, and right now it's letting me actually move around. This shouldn't be happening, so that's a bug we're gonna need to fix. And buttons aren't working, so that's even better. So let's see what we got here. It's good to know. But if we come down here, we can see some of the life we have. It's all static right now, so nothing's moving around, but you can come in here and start collecting things. This all seems like it's working. Inventory, it's not letting me click anything on the screen. Huh. I wonder what that's about. This must be a Unity issue. Is it not treating clicks as... It's taps. Oh, there we go. So it thinks it's running Android. Well, that one's saying not Android. Here we go. So if we hit inventory, now we can click on stuff. So you can see right now we got the jelly, the cloudfish, the chomper, the tiger bloat, and the web slinger. And we can come up here and sell them all. Why it's 1,000,000? That must be in the save file. We do that. Just keep going. This is currently the part shop, so we just have hulls, cargo bays, fuel tanks, engines, and shields. So these are all programmer art at the moment. But I can go through here and buy them, and it's going to leave the highest level equipment as what you're using. I think on this screen it shows which sub you have, which doesn't have art yet, but everything else that's equipped, you might need to put or scale these up and actually just redo this whole panel. So that's something we're going to be looking into doing at some point too. Let's see here. So we can go ahead and kill that. Looks like everything's working though. So let's jump into some code. So go ahead and kill the design document. And then let's see here. So I guess first thing we need to do, let's see, looking at scriptable objects here. So this is kind of the base scriptable object that everything is. What is this doing? Let's ignore that. So this is our base scriptable object. So everything has a weight, a monetary value, ID, name, description, and a sprite. And so if we were to go to cargo, for example, it's inheriting from scriptable object base, and the only thing that changes is the max cargo weight. Like I said, I don't want to add slots, so we're not going to worry about doing that to the cargo. What I might do is, while we're here, I can rename this to battery, and then come here and rename this. Let's just do it this way. And then change this to, I guess, power. Power would work. And then we can do a bit of float for charge rate. Or maybe energy output. And that should let us charge the battery based on what we have equipped. Let's see, equipment is empty, so we're not using this for anything yet. Don't think we need to worry about this one yet. Fuel tank, max fuel, that looks good. Hull. See, I probably shouldn't have closed design dock. Open that up over here, off to the side. We can use it as a reference while we're working on this. So let's find this. That's all the tiers. Engine, standard energy generation. Okay, that makes sense. We don't have any abilities yet, so that's going to be something I can add in here. So we'll just do a add in abilities. So we can do that. Fuel tank. Let's see, we've got max fuel. We can do a fuel efficiency. So yeah, let's do like have fuel efficiency in there. That works. And then also do a fuel regen, and that's something we don't have to worry about until later, but we can just add it in. Let's see, hull. Whoops. So we can close these out too. So hull, it's got pressure resistance, float, regen. Do we do a pressure resistance? I don't think we need to worry about that one. We can just toss it in with abilities. Add that in here too. New line there. Cargo bays. You're next. So here we just have this. We don't need slots. So this will be, instead of slots, just do that. let's do the... don't know if we need to do compression bonuses. Or the pocket dimension. We can just do a larger... or I guess more cargo weight. That should be fine. Oh, alright, so once we go to the battery... Okay. That looks good. This needs to be capitalized to match the pattern. Float for recharge rate. So the recharge rate should also tie into the energy output. So between the two of those, you can have a big battery with a high recharge rate, but an engine with low energy output and still be net positive. So I think that should be fine. Or even a smaller battery with like a low output and have the engine even it out. We'll see. This infinite energy one for the highest tier I think is going to be a good idea, so we'll leave that in there. Let's see, let's look at the shield. So let's see, the shield's got damage resistance. I like the damage reflection. You can see we got a to-do in here as well. Let's see. So this is damage reflection. Let's do that. And we'll also need the abilities. So get that back in clipboard. Okay, I think those are all good to go. So we got the sub. We got equipment slots, max speed. That looks good. The weapons. Do we want to do anything with this? Don't think we do at the moment. Okay, that looks good. Make sure we didn't break anything in Unity once it recompiles. Let's see. That all looks good. No errors. Okay. Don't have to worry about the crafting system yet. Okay, this all looks good. I guess drop tables would be next. So, in this one, I believe in this TJ the Programmer core, this is my shared library. We can, I think I've got a drop table in here. Yeah, I do. So, pop this here. Finding Focus, if you've got a Mac I can use to build it, we might be able to get this to run. I don't have anything Apple to test this with, so might have to have you give me a hand with that if that's the case. Let's see here. This all looks good. Okay, so we just need to inherit drop table. So if we do, let's see, what do we need to do for this? Subby? Not saved. That compile? Okay, you got an M3 laptop? That would work. I think the biggest thing is we need to have... Oh, what's that in between building iOS stuff? Hey, SL MOBA Streams. Let's see. What are we doing here? Yeah, it was Xcode. That's what I was thinking. Okay. Where is the audio controls? I don't know if we need audio going while we're trying to do that. Ah, there it is. Okay, cool. Alright. Get this running. Go back to the simulator. Yeah, everything's working. Cool. Okay. Let me look at... Resources, scriptables. Yep. Okay. So yeah, we got drop tables. Awesome. That opens up. We don't have any drop table assets, so that should work. Let's create a folder for drop tables. We're also going to need one for materials. Alrighty. Jump back over here. Whoops. So... do we need to extract some of the stuff out for any of these? Or is the drop table item good? An item. A sprite renderer. That might be overkill. I think I just need a sprite. Let's see. What should we do here? Outside. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, this is as if it was doing something with a sprite renderer. Let me think, is that what we want to do? Okay, item data is level up. I don't have a JSON path here. It's been so long since I wrote this, I can't remember how this worked. Yeah, 16 months ago. Here we go. Oh, we got a sound effects. We got the sprite. Okay. So yeah, we can just use item data. Is collectible, is collected. Oh, this was for a different game that I was working on. Okay. Health, energy, 1 up, collectible currency. Okay. vaguely remember how this works now. Let me think. What do we need to do? So we should be able to go in here, create, and just go item, new item. What if we call this, let's see, it's going to let me rename it. Call it scales. Sorry if Unity is a little small. There's not much I can really do about that. It's running on a 4K screen, so sorry in advance. Let's see. So if we do that and say it's a collectible. Oh, collectible is going to be... Don't think that's working the way I think it works. Health, energy, 1-up. Collectible. Also need a resource. Okay, so if we do that, jump back over here. Once this recompiles, reload this. Show up? No, it does not. Now it's recompiling, of course. Okay, create, go here, item. Let's call it the scale. There's resource. Okay. I can't remember what the JSON path was for. Might have been the name, so not going to worry too much about that for now. Drop rate, say it's this is a float, so 0.8, so 80% drop rate should be there. And then drop tables, we can open this up and create drop table. So item drop table, and call it jelly for now. And we can add the material here to it. Should be able to. No, that's not going to work. Get name. No. Why is this not letting me add it? It's like a drop table. This drop table item. Okay. Why did I write it like that? So each drop table item has a item in it. Item. This seems way more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, we're gonna need to rethink this. Okay, let's. Oh. Alright, let's go ahead and delete this file. Just rename these real quick. Plus, we're going to underscore here. Hi Dylan. Here I can show you what Subby is. So Subby is a game that takes place on Europa, basically one of Jupiter's moons, and you're a little submarine that goes around collecting life under the ocean. So right now I've got it in the Unity kind of simulator for Android, but you go around collecting life. There's going to be more of these spawning around, and some of them will be aggressive and whatnot, but come back up here once you collect a few of them, and then let's see, grab a few more, come over here, and then there's a list here. You can sell them. You'll be able to upgrade your submarine over here with different holes, cargo bays, fuel tanks, and whatnot, and be able to go deeper. And there's going to be some other fun effects the further down you go, and with some bosses and whatnot. So right now we're working on getting some of the cargo bay and drop tables working for the creatures. Let's see, so this is all shared code for a different project that I am not worried about. So let's see. I have drop table, list of droppables, that's fine. And then a master drop rate. So if this is a 1, it always drops. 80% of the time it'll drop. There's a pick drop item. That looks fine. And then determine droppable. It's gonna get a random range. And then it'll pick which item. Okay, that looks fine. So if we have a drop table item, how should we do this? Drop table item was what? Drop rate with a drop item. Is there a better way of doing this? Let's see, drop table item. Maybe I just pull everything out of item? Or we don't even call it drop table item. But we need the drop rate. And I don't think there's a way of doing a shared field here. Let me think. Let's see, we've got item data. This is the old item. Yeah, that can go. Let's see. Drop table item. I think this should be fine. But we're not. So drop table items. Maybe I just call this one item. Yeah, okay, I think this is what I want to do. So let's see. copy that here. Just call this drop table, or call that item. Let's move the drop table up here. So I don't get super confused on what the heck I'm doing. Item. Oh, this one as well. Okay, so we're gonna need the item type. Let's see. Alright, we got item type. Let me see what else. Drop item. Let's see. Yeah, we can do an int for getting confused with the file names here as well. So we got item, int, go monetary value. Tell the item. We need a sprite. Actually, we'll put the sprite down here. I like having the more primitive values like float, strings, and stuff at the top, unless it's an enum. So it's called sprite. I'm not even sure how that correctly named that. Or highlighted it. That was interesting. Okay, item data collected. This is something we can turn into like an item base class and inherit from. Let's see what we got. Public drop rate, that's fine. The name above that. Don't need that anymore. With the sprite. Also add in sound effects under the sprite, keep with the same pattern. It's collectible, that's definitely going to need to be there. Actually, we probably just want collected, because we have the type here for collectible. We don't need to check or have a bool saying it's collectible. Oh, is that right? I guess we can copy this, do that. That should be good. Data. That doesn't look like it's needed. Okay, I think that's where we want it. Let's see, drop value, item drop rate. Do we have a drop rate? How am I doing? Drop table's right above me. Okay, we got drop rate. Drop rate, that looks good. Item dot drop item. Nope, just return item. Each item. Okay, selected null. Okay, this all looks good. Put space there, make that a little bit more readable. Arrange, drop item. Okay, I think this is all good to go. It's saved. Okay. Materials, let's see if this works now. Item. New item. It's called a scale. Okay. Type is collectible. Oh, it's still looking at the old one. Why did that not recompile? There it goes. Okay. Now we got errors. Let's see. Sound effects cannot be found. Okay. So that would be this. Needs to be there. Ah, I remember what's going on here. So, for some reason in Linux, whenever I switch to Unity, it doesn't want to basically treat it like I gained focus on it. So I have to click off screen and then click back to it for it to work. So that's what's going on there. Alright. Item event. Ooh, this is something new. What is this? Item event. Okay, this is in more core code. I didn't realize there was an event here. Item event. Okay, let's just comment that out for now. Item listener. Comment that out. Anything else using item? Collectibles. Old item, okay. Comment that out. Comment that out. So if we jump back in here, where are we at? Okay, I think we're good to go. Is happy? Nope, we got one more. Unity item event. Okay, events. Oops. Let's go here. Is it int event? No, Unity item event. It's not that one. There it is. Okay, let's comment that out. Wow, this is a lot more involved than I was expecting it to be. Okay, got something in enemies too. Awesome. Events, enemies, enemy data, The drop tables here, that makes sense. Where is it complaining? Taking damage. Enemy info, droppables. Determine droppable, should return an item. Right? Yeah, it's returning an item. What is this line complaining at? Line 62. Oops. Line 62. Item determine droppable. No, not that one. Those files, 62. Ah, okay. That's why this was done this way. So on the enemy object in the shared code here, okay, this is going to need to get redone a little bit. So if we don't instantiate that, should be good. How about now? We happy? Looks like it. Okay, so if we go back up here to resources, materials, can I finally get this working? Item. Not there. So close. It's a bunch of common code that's been edited. I think that's what the problem is. And create item. Nope. Why is this not working? Create asset item. Create asset menu attribute on item will be ignored. This item is not derived from scriptable object. Well, let's make it derived from scriptable object. Get that. Go here, item, there's the new item. Scale, name. Okay, now we're in good shape. Okay, cool. Monetary value 0. Let's make this 0.8. That looks good. We don't have a sprite for it now. We can make use of one of the known ones maybe. Let's see here. What sprites are in here? Let's make it a little square. That works. And it is resource. Alright. That should be good. Okay. And then if I go to drop table here, can I add to this list? Get name. Interesting. What happened here? Something's not happy with Unity? Just on the drop table? What is going on here? Get pixels per point. That does not look right. Trying to access the DPI setting of a visual element that is not on a panel. What is the drop table doing? Let's close all these. Let's see, close to the right. Alright, that looks fine. That looks fine. Let's run it out. So there's nothing jumping out that looks like it's trying to do anything there. I'll get rid of that. Clear this. Still having issues? No? Okay, there we go. Now everything is working right. This pops up a menu, so going through and creating these, I can just pick the one I want, and then say this drops 100% of the time, and the jelly is always going to drop a scale if we do that. And then I can just go over here to the jelly and pick its drop table, just like that. So it looks like drop tables are now good to go. That's nice and easy once we got past the nonsense with the shared code. I'm gonna have to go back and make sure all of that's working correctly. But in this case, I'm not too worried about it. So there's also, what's that? 1, 2, 3. 500,000 for a jellyfish. I don't think so. It's a little much. Okay, that all looks good now. How many are in here? Does it say? Yeah. Okay, so these are all the life we have right now that can be spawned. I believe that is somewhere in here. The Subby controller. There's something that we have that spawns all of the different creatures, and it requires having, oh, it's this one right here, the life spawner. So this actually has an array of all of these scriptable objects that we can go through and just have a single instance and reinstantiate them. So that's what this is doing. But the biggest thing that I want to get done now is, let's see, since that's working, we're going to need a way to get the items. So let's see, if we look at the player here, we've got some events going on that let's see, I'll collapse the design document for a minute, but we've got a life collect handler, the life exchange collide handler, so this will, whenever we collide with the life exchange, that's when this gets triggered. Just use the keyboard here. The upgrade shop collide handlers handling when we have a collision with the upgrade shop. So the big one here is the life collect handler, and that is going to take us to, looks like the life exchange. So when we exchange life, what we're going to need to do here is probably remove the life from the cargo, and then let's think about this for a second. So let's remove the life from the cargo, and then processing, we need to check the drop table for any item drops. So what is that going to look like? That will be, let's see, right now we just have a money handler, so we'll need to have a basically a material handler. Is there anything else that we need to do? Let me see here. Let me think about this for a second. So we got the drop table for any item. So let's say item is equal to L dot the drop table dot what was it? Determine droppable? I think that's all we have to do. And that should get us the item. We can do a debug log on the item, see what it is. And then where is the money add handler defined? That is at the life exchange. So we'll need another pair of these. Let's go. Oops. Control D, that's going to be material. Or item? Let's go item. The item add handler. Okay. Do the money first, and then add handler. For anyone that's not familiar with C#, this question mark period is just a inline null check, so I wouldn't have to do like a if item add handler is equal to or not equal to null kind of thing. So this right here replaces doing an if statement. Let's see, so here we just need to invoke on item. And that should be good to go. Because this is just basically going off into a void right now, this should compile. It's an event that someone else is going to need to subscribe to. And if I were to do a search for the money add handler, we can see it's actually in the Subby game controller here. So this is a giant singleton that runs while the game is going. And what it lets me do is I can trigger events and whatnot and hook into them here and handle them as needed. So let's see, we've got let's see, there's the upgrade shop. So what we need to do is exchanger, call it the item add handler, and just do an add item. And so what this line is doing is we're looking at the object exchanger, which is this life exchange, and it's going in and saying, okay, we have this event handler and we're going to use this function, which I'm going to go down here and implement. So if I do a search for add money, there's this function here. So we've got a private pool add item, and then we'll just pass in the item, and then, oops, copy pattern here, and then also format the file. So the save controller has a finding focus. So if there's a question mark here, it's doing the inline null check. So if it evaluates to null, it doesn't call the function. So it's a nice kind of short circuit inline, so you don't have to worry about it. Let's see, this one I can get pretty specific here, so I can actually call this no, let's just leave it as item now. So add player item. So we can call this val. That should work. And then what? Let's see. Let's look at the item again. Okay. Name in the save file. So this is going all the way. This is kind of full chain here. So when we add a player item, I guess it'd be a resource item. So let's see. Go to the save controller here. This has changed shape a little bit. I found a better pattern here for converting to a string dynamically at runtime. So I've got basically a string lookup table where I've got player and money hard coded. So there's only one place that has these strings. So like if I were to go, it's gonna let me do this. Let's see here. I think that is down in this file. So these are all kind of the generic strings that are in any game that I would make. So we've got a player, database, video settings, load settings. Like it's just this lowercase string. And then I don't have to worry about referencing or having a bunch of duplicated strings all throughout. I can call this using the JSON string .save, for example, or player, and it goes down the JSON object. There's some code in here. I think I've shown it in a previous video that actually shows how this works. But I can access JSON elements using lit.json, which is a C# library, and access them. So this would be player.money, and it would be the player object and then the money key within that JSON. And in this case, the money is just stored as a string, and we can get the nested value here. So it's a pretty easy way of keeping track of stuff, and I know all of the save values here, and it's not going to try and do anything that I haven't told it to do. So let's see here. We've got a set fuel. We're going to need, what do we call it? Add resource item. So we got add player money, public pool, add resource item. So do I want to do this by ID or something else? Because if I do it by the ID of this, would that work? No, I think what I want to do is let's call it item, and then let's see, we will need to set the need to update file. So that's a for sure. think here. Do I have... Oh, I'm down a level. Give me one sec. Let's take a look at the actual save file here. Here's the save template. Okay, so we have an object for items. So what I would need to do here is this would be let's see, do we want to allow multiple drops? Yeah, multiple drops sounds like a good idea. So let's do a count. And then this should be, so we have a way to access items. Okay, that's good. We just need the count, so this should be, let's see, we want to do string. What would this be? This would be item path is equal to item plus, let's follow the pattern here. So the item path is going to be item dot item dot name. I think that's correct. Let's call this, yeah, don't do that. Just call it in. No, ins are reserved. Separate those two a little bit. So we have the base item, which looks like this. So it's player items. Maybe I should, oh, it's items. So yeah, I can just call this item. That works. So that gets us this. And then if we go here, return set nested int with item path and the count. Okay, I think that works. Finding Focus, Ryan also is the one that did the music. If you want to check out his SoundCloud, I can put that in the chat for you. So all the music is currently coming off a playlist that Ryan made for me. So he also did the music for Subby. So if we jump over here, let me pause the music real quick. Oh, we got compile errors. I think I can just access the music. Yeah, audio. So we should be able to just play this here. So there's 3 different tracks here, and I've got some code in here that will go through and kind of layer them. based on the depth. So we have this one that was deep, medium. This one's shallow. So it's got a different sound to it. And then very deep. And they'll all kind of layer on top of each other the further down you go. It's a pretty cool system. Let me get this going again. Alright, so what do we got here? This is complaining that count is not a thing. Okay, so that's here. So add item all the way up is going to need count. I'm going to rename this to past item. Keep that consistent. Let's see, this all looks good. And save that, go here. That and int count. Okay, that should be good. See, in the drop table, do we want to I think at this point I might just have it send one for testing. Get this to recompile. Okay, everything looks good here. Let's run this. I guess now that I can actually run this, let me swap to the game, turn on the music. We can actually go down here. Let's grab a couple jellies, since we have to do that. But you can probably hear the music changing just a little bit. That is, you can see the volume is changing on each track based on where we are, and it's doing it based on sine or cosine. So it's a pretty fun little algorithm to tweak the music. So that's how that works, and I can get multiple tracks that are just kind of loops and tweak them as needed based on the depth. Let's see if this is working. So if I clear this, I sell one. Oh, gotta be in the simulator. Sell. Ooh, that's awesome. So the item is null. Okay. Item is null. That's a problem. Get the music going again. So determine droppable is returning a null. Determine droppable. Oh. Oh, there it is. It's returning null. Okay. Let's say if item. Just force it to do what we want. Get a couple jellyfish. Come back up here. Let's see, get name can only be called from the main thread. What is this complaining about? Let's see, let's mute that for now. Unity exception, get name can only be called. What is this being called from? Okay, I'll have to track this one down. It looks like it's in one of the text mesh things. That's my guess. Okay, so if we clear all the errors, sell this. Okay, we got null. Null again. Still getting null. Okay, is the drop table up to date? Let's make sure that all looks good. Resources, scriptables, drop tables, jelly, scale. Master drop rate is 1. Okay, materials, scale. Let's set this to 1 to make sure we're not going crazy. I'm just hitting that 80% of the time. Every time. Okay, there's another one. So we should be good here. Sell. Still returning null. Huh. Okay, what is going on here? Drop table. Let's see. So life has a drop table. Drop table is determined droppable. Pick drop item. Item shouldn't be null. I can double check that. That's a good question. Let's see here. I'd be surprised if it is, because it's showing the droppable here as the scale. This is freaking out for some reason. I'm not sure what Unity's doing. Awesome, Unity's freaking out. Okay. Alright, scriptables, drop table. Huh. That's weird. I wonder what is Unity doing? Let's see. Because in theory, I should be able to look at one of these. And then it's pointing here. Unity is not happy at the moment. Huh. What is going on? Okay, well that looks fine. So the scale should be there. For sure. The only thing I could think of is... Does it know what item is? Because this is in shared library code, but it's within the project and there's no namespace. So that should be fine. We're not using those events. Add item. past item in the count. Let's see. Let's toss some logging in throughout the chain. There's that life exchange. That should be as soon as we determine the droppable here. So that would be good. Okay. Jump back here. Yeah, it should be less than or equal to. Because right now I have random set to 1 in the drop table. Or it's making it hard to see, but that should be a 1. And then this one, whatever this value is, should be a 1 as well. So I don't think it's that, and it's less than or equal. So if we go up here, sell it. So that has an object. What if we do item.name? Because we have a name property on it. That's probably gonna freak it out. Alright, where is jellyfish? There we go. Clear the log, sell it. It's complaining that it's not a reference, or a null reference. Huh. Oh, I bet I know what's going on. No, should have. If we remove the life from the cargo, it's probably setting that to null. But oh, I bet that's what it is. Do this. And this. I bet before is good and then after it's null. I bet you that's what it is. Let's see what we got here. Alright. Never mind. Sell the chomper. Life before. It's an object. No. That one looks like it's an object. Maybe not. Let's see, there's the max hope. But it should have a name to it. That to recompile. Try selling a cloudfish. Okay, that's not it. So that stays. Did I name the variable right? Drop table. It's a public drop table. Let's see, what was the other log here? This is inventory log cargo. Okay, that's not it. What line is that? Okay, that's just log cargo. Object references. Okay, we need jelly. Where are they? There's one. Clear that. Oops. Object's not set to an instance of an object. How is that not? Okay, so L exists at this point. What if instead I do that up here? Relaunch the game. Okay. Clear this. Still null. How is that null? That shouldn't be null. Unless... Be nice if I could see what these settings are in Unity. Come on, Unity, what are you doing? Get pixels per point. Just unhappy with resolution? So when I click cell, what it's doing is, believe, let's see, which one is being called? This be the life exchange, want the canvas, or the life exchange. So we have a sell all button that calls exchange all life. And I'm guessing on, let's see if we can figure that out. Where is the jelly? Let's grab one of these. If we go up here, there's a scroll view with a viewport, and then in its contents, each one of these with a sell button, and it's calling sell single life, which, let's see here, there's sell, nope, where is that? Sell single life. Life inventoried. So it's got a reference to itself here. There's life inventory item. Is this what's doing it? Materialize field, life inventory item. We can go up the chain. So that's getting the scriptable object, which the scriptable object is just a piece of data that has a reference. It's basically just a reference here to this. So it's got this SO life. And if I click this one, it's looking at this drop table. So it should have that when I click sell. So if I were to click sell here, this should be referencing this, which references this. Why it's not? That's the question. So inventoried life. Because we're using the monetary value and the weight here. And that's doing calculations to get the total weight. And for doing the cargo bay calculations. So we look at inventoried life. It's got the private set and a public getter. Life exchange. Let me think here. What to do. That all looks fine. So exchange life, where is that being called? It is using the inventoried life. Getting languages mixed up. Let's see. If this returns null, it's not doing anything. That's not an issue. So I'm not worried about that one. Because this can return a value and it just go off into the void because I'm not storing it. So that I'm not worried about that one. Unless let's see, what is item thinking it is? There's not another item in here, right? Just this. Okay, and this is just item. Okay. Exchange panel item. Let's see what we got here. This is a weird problem to be having. I wouldn't have expected this to be a bug. Drop table exists. Okay. It's gonna let me do breakpoint. I don't think it's gonna let me attach. If I could attach the debugger, I could really see what's going on. I'm not sure if I can. Alright, let's grab a few of these. Go back up here. Yeah, it's saying the drop table exists, so... Cannot do that with... Okay. Just for the sake of debugging, let's set that back to private. Let's do droppables at 0. Does not, because it is drop table dot droppables. Let's do one of the happy path ones. Okay. So still not. Drop table exists and it's not giving me a value. Okay. Interesting. Let me think here. I'm going to take a quick break. I will be right back. I gotta go let the dogs out and stuff. But give me about a 5-minute break and I'll be right back. Alright, let's jump back into this. Let's see. I was hearing complaints that the chat was actually covering the inspector panel. Let me see. Might just... Let's see, where can I move that? I put it right here. Is that better? It might work. Yeah, we can do that for now. Yeah, something like that. Okay, cool. Let's give that a shot and see how we do. Okay. Didn't realize I was covering that for you guys, so I did restart Unity. Let's see if things work a little bit better. I don't know why this is not. Let's see, drop rate is 1, so should drop 100% of the time. It's a resource. Also, sorry if you guys can hear dog chewing on a bone. He's having a good time. Let's see. Let's look at the drop table here. Is there a magnifier in Unity? Nope. There's not. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that, unfortunately. But basically what this is a view of basically what the drop tables fields are. So if I set this back to private, it's anything that's serialized or public. So in this case it's droppables, which is a list, and then the master drop rate. Oh, you're getting a lab? Labs are great. I've got 4 of them here, so it's currently the puppy that's chewing on the bone. So he's crazy. He's a little scraggly. I think he's Australian Shepherd, but he's kind of looks like cookies and cream. So big German Shepherds behind me, and then another one, or the other 2 are at my feet, so it's prime real estate under there. Alright, so let's see here. Element 0, scale item. Do I need more than 1? Are we off by 1 somehow? Shouldn't be. For each item in droppables. Yeah, that looks fine. Let me think here. Random's gonna be... Yeah, we want it to be less than or equal to that, and it's 1. So it should be within that range. What color lab are you going to be getting? And if you say chocolate, I want to see it. Let's see here. Item name. Okay. Oh. There's our problem. What the heck? Chasing the wrong issue the entire time. Yellow labs are great dogs too. Had those the entire time I grew up, so hopefully the meet and greet goes well. Okay, pick drop item. Do we need that? We're already calling the random number generator once, so we just need that. Get rid of that. That was stupid. Oh, that was stupid. I feel like an idiot for that one. Okay, we should be good now. That was dumb. I feel like an idiot for writing that line of code. Let's see. Oh, I need to pass random in here. For anyone that didn't catch it, I was setting here we can actually look at the diff here. I was setting float rand equal to 0. It wasn't complaining that we had this on the same line. And then if random was, or rand was equal to 0, we were returning null instead of returning the item. So that's what that was. That was a stupid error. Okay, what do we got here? Float rand. Yeah, it doesn't need to be there. Drop value. For item indroppables. Okay, so this probably needs to be redone a little bit, but it should work for a single item. Oh yeah, you haven't seen the diff preview in VS Code? You can like expand it and actually see what's going on, or if you go into this view, let's see, like I can click on this file and then it gives you a split view, so you can see where your adds and subtracts were. So like if we were to go to, I don't think there's any of these files that I took stuff out of. It's probably in this. You can see where all the deletions were and then where all the adds were. And it just makes life easy when you can do this. I've seen a lot of people use Beyond Compare, but this is basically the same thing. And what's cool is I could, if I want to, I can just say, okay, highlight this, and then there's a stage selected range. So if you're working on something and you only want to commit a chunk of it, you can just select stage the selected range rather than the entire chunk out of the file. Makes doing incremental changes nice and easy. So yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff. There's also a file history. I personally like using GitLens, and I can go back in time on a specific file. So if I am looking at this file, actually let's do a bigger file here that makes a little bit more sense. Let's go to Subby and then do the game controller. You can see every commit and all the changes. So the initial commit, there's the game controller, and then just slowly over time things have changed. This is looking at the fuel station, but if I were to go to this one, oh, it's pulling up the files that have changed in this commit. So if I were to go, say, here and look at the game controller, this is what the state of it was back at that commit. So it's pretty cool, just to see how things change over time. And then, like, I've got a bunch of different themes, so if I try not to blind everyone by accidentally doing a light theme, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. There's an old Steam Classic theme, which is fun. I really like the Spirited Away. The solo leveling one's cool. This one's a nice, like, makes everything kind of pop. But Gotham is the one I've been using lately if I want a bunch of contrast. But almost daily I'll run the Spirited Away. It's just nice enough colors with contrast. But VS Code is awesome. You should check it out at some point. Let's see. Alright, where were we? We were getting ready to test if our drop table was actually doing what we expect it to do. We got these two. Let's see here. If we clear that, sell it. There's our scale. And it works. Works if you don't tell it to be null. Okay. And I'm guessing if I clear this and hit sell all, it's not doing it. Okay. So let's see here. That's just on the exchange life. So here, I guess we can remove that. Let's see, this is doing the cargo value. So this is just removing all the life from the cargo. There's no processing going on here. Actually, finding focus, there's a video I've seen of the Linux kernel. Now that I think about it, this just popped into my mind. If you're wanting to do something fun with Tashio, is it does almost like a web of the Linux kernel and how it started off and how it just has grown to what it is. If you remind me, I can see if I can find it and send it to you. It's really cool, and you'll just see like nodes popping up and which directory they're in, and it's like the var directory and then Etsy and all that stuff, and you just see everything start to expand over time. It's really cool. Let's see, exchange life. Do we have access to the inventory? We do. Inventory cargo. Okay, so we are going to need to before we do that. Oops, wrong button. Not Control Shift I or Control Alt I. It's Control Shift Alt I. No, Control Shift I. There we go. Yeah, science experiment's a really good word for it. Okay, how is this? Life inventory item. Okay, so item is life inventory item. So this would be let's see. We're going to do this. This would be life. Let's see. Before I go off on a tangent here, it's my get data dropped in. Yeah, that should work. Oops. Cool. Okay, that should work. So this is space. This one needs a space. That one needs a space. Okay. Make sure all the comments are up to date. That's pretty self-explanatory. Don't need that anymore. Okay. Okay, cool. That should work. Ooh, what do we got for an error? Exchange, life inventory item does not contain. Okay, so the life inventory item. Let's go to the life inventory item. Don't need to call get data. Right. So that's the constructor. It's public. Cool. Okay, we should be good. That error gone. Okay. Sorry if you guys can't see the errors here. Let me make that a little bit taller. I just looked over and saw that. So there's been a bunch of these where it's this get name. I'm not sure where. Is this something in my code? I don't think so. Characters in lookup cache, no. Here, I'll copy this and oops. Yeah, this is the error that's popping up in there. None of these are mine. Text assets, font asset, no. Yeah, none of these are mine. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that then. clear that. Run any errors. Run this. Let's make sure our drop tables are dropping for everything. Let's grab a few of these guys. Okay. Let's see what we got here. There's this one, this one. That's about. Oh, there's one more that hasn't been shown at the moment. Let's see if we can find him. Should be a little purple. Oh, what do we got here? Drop a couple of those. Let's see, we're looking for a little purple one. That's the one that's missing. I think it's a like gas fish or something. There is not a ton of these around. Let's see, are there any in this view? I don't even see him in here. Huh, that's interesting. Doesn't even look like he's spawning. Yeah. Here's kind of the exploded view so we can see where everything's hiding. Just by doing this. That's spawned. So if I go up a little bit and to the side, I guess I can do this view too. We can see where we are and collect these things. Go up here. Put that back. Go back to the simulator. Go up. Okay, let's make sure drop tables are working without crashing stuff. Nope. Life exchange line 81. Exchange line 81. If it doesn't have a drop table, don't do this. How about that? That should. Let's see, would that skip it? That should skip it. This real quick. So we need stuff that's not a jelly. It's not one of the jellyfish that are right here. Let's grab these guys. That should work. So if we clear the logs, sell all, still getting an error. Lead. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to use. Let's go. Inventory life drop table. So I think drop table would exist, right? Let's see, 181. Let's see what we got here. Is this working? The jellies. Take you. Clear, sell all. Yep, that worked. Cool. So I think our drop table logic is now somewhat working as expected. Don't think we need that one there. That's worth checking. Because we're not checking to see if let's see. Yeah, we're not checking if the inventory life exists. We're just checking to see if the drop table exists. Hey there, Smurl Music. Thanks for joining. It's a little complicated, nothing too crazy. We're just working on drop tables for the game. So if I sell all, just making sure things aren't breaking, but kind of overhauling and went through and updated the game design document with a bunch of information. So there's like 1,000 lines here for how some stuff works, and just going through and making sure things are working. Let's see. But we just got the ability to create scriptables here with basically what these are is just chunks of data that I can say, okay, here's a scale for a drop whenever you go to process whatever life you collect, and then we actually got the processing working when you actually go to process the life. The only thing I didn't check is if the save file is working correctly with the items. Let's see. Looks like there's nothing there. Let's see, where is the save file? Let me go ahead and pull up that file. Hey, Jerry. Let's see. So we need to look at. Let's see. It's. Where do we have a way to save the game? Let me do this. Let's see, is this what we want to do? Yeah, it's just called save game. Okay, so if we do that, we call save game, we should see this file update. Pull it up over here to the side. So it is .config. Unity here. There's a cat meowing behind me too. Let's see here. Okay, so we have, here's the save file currently, so there's nothing in items. So what we want to do, let's make sure everything loads in correctly here. Let's see. Meowing cat. Gonna get herself in trouble. Yeah, the cat that's came out hungry and waiting for food to drop. There's a automatic feeder and she's just itching for food. Let's see, this is the local save file. Okay, so we've got items. What I expect it to do. It's complaining that this does not return. Let's do that. That should fix the error. Kibble DLC. That sounds about right. There's 2 cats and 4 dogs up here, so it's just plenty of animals to go around. Let's see, okay, I think that works. So in theory, if we pick one of these up, check the save file. Okay, save file hasn't changed. We go here, sell this, save success. Did it work? Ah, scale 1. Awesome. Oh, it worked. Don't have to worry about that. My guess is right now we are not incrementing this. So that's going to be here. So we will need to probably get nested int the item path and do total is equal to that plus count. And I think if there's nothing in there, let's see, what does get nested int do if there's not a value? Return. Get nested data. Get value for get. Okay. I think we're good. This JSON loader, I had AI go through and make sure everything was up to date, and had it also make sure like all the unit tests are solid. This is like the core of how most of my stuff works. So everything's based on JSON, and I wanted to make sure this was solid. Just while we're looking at that, there's this test runner here, and you can see all the tests that are run for it, and those are all showing that they're good. So that's what all this stuff is. But yeah, everything's going through here, and whatever I'm calling to access the JSON is just much higher level, and I don't have to think about if the values exist or anything. It just works, and it lets me have the save controller and a language system. So that's what all this stuff is. But this was deep in the bowels of it. Let's see here. So if we have not tried this yet, so let's go ahead and make sure this works. Well, I guess before I do that, let me clear out the scale. So if it doesn't exist, we expect it to return a 0, and then set it to 1 otherwise. And then I'll put 2 of them in here, and then we should be able to see 2. Nope. Instance of JSON data doesn't hold an int. Okay, so that is not working. Or it's working, but it's failing. So let's see. Return int, get value for get. Let's see, what is it doing? Okay, so it's throwing if that's the case. Is that what we want to do? Let's see, where were we in that? That was the Subby save controller. And then we were going to do that. Let's just do a try catch here. Okay, if we do that, we do that, otherwise we'll catch it. That's it. Exception E. Is that the right syntax? It's been a minute. I think that's what it is. Okay. So because I don't want to add all of the items to the save file, I can just add them dynamically. That's why I'm having to do this try catch here. We know the set nested int works. So as soon as that happens, it'll run through it and save. And then if this actually works, then let's see, we're also gonna need to do this. So if we do either of those, which means we can just do it outside the loop. Okay. That should work. Let's see what we got here. So if we go down, collect a couple of the jellies. We need one more here. Oh, there's 3 of them. Cool. Okay, so if I sell one, this should have updated. Oops. We got 1. That looks good. Saying we have 6 of them. Okay, well, if we sell all, and then jump over here, there's only 2. Interesting. And that is because we did 2 actions. Because we're not counting how many of them are in here. Let's go for int I is equal to 0. I is less than. Ooh, let's see. This would be life dot. This is the life inventory item. Life dot count. This is not moving in. Okay, that should work. This is C++, or let's see, C#. Okay. That looks good. Let's kick that off again. Let's get a reasonable test here. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3. Why is it showing we have 4 of them? That's interesting. I'll have to check that out and see what's going on there. Something doesn't seem right. So if we sell 1, we know for a fact we're going to see 1 in here. So we have 3 in here. So if we hit sell all, scale should go to 4. And now it does. Cool. So that's working. Let's see if I grab one of these. There's 1. If I grab one of those, there's 1. That took us to 4. Why did that take us to 4? There's one of those. No, it's 2. 3. Okay. 1. 4 chompers. I can drop the cloudfish. Oh, wait, 5. There's 0 cloud. Okay. That's weird. What the heck is going on? Okay. That's weird that it's loading those up. I'll have to make note of that. Okay, we got 1 jelly. Let's add a chomper. So each of those have 1. But on the second one, it was when it was duplicating. That was weird. Okay. There's 2. That one has 2. Okay, let's restart that. That was weird. Why did the count screw up counting? Okay, we have 1 jelly. 2 jelly. 3, okay. That's 1 chomper. That's 4. 5. 6. I wonder if there were just a couple stacked on top of each other and that's why that happened. It's the only thing I can think of. Let's see, is this working now? Sell, that all looks good. There's none in here. Okay. Do that. We got the max step, that's saving correctly. 10 scales, that looks good. Okay. So collected life is not counting up. I'll have to take care of that too. Interesting. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Gonna make a note off to the side. Collected life. Not keeping track in save file. Collected weight, doing the same. Let's see, current cargo is not updating. Okay. Current fuel and current hull also not. Cool. So we got that. Let's see what else we got here. So, no, that's working. I might want to do this by ID. Because if I do it by ID, then it's just a lookup. And then when I read in the save file, I can make sure all of this shows up properly. Yeah, I think I want to do those by ID. Let's see. Is there an ID? There is not. Okay, let's jump into... Alright, we can close all these. Actually, Control Shift Tab works. That's nice. Okay. Put the design document off to the side. Let's see. Item. Name. Int ID. If we do that, get it to recompile. Should see an ID field up here. Yep. So ID, let's set that. Scale is 0 works. I'm okay with that. Unless I want to do... No, IDs would work. I don't want to have to do string comparisons on boot. Yeah, that should work. Okay. And I guess going back with the name. Let's see. I don't want vocals right now. Ryan, if you're still listening, sorry. Let's see what we got here. Get rid of those 2 spaces. So we have the name. Let's do... So the JSON value, I'm remembering this now. The JSON value was a lookup in a... basically would be a language lookup table. So that's what this is. I'm going to leave that here. We may not use it right away, but the option's there, and then we can just work with it from there. So, let's get this recompiled. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got JSON value here. And then that should dynamically update this whenever we're ready. Okay, I think I'm good with that. So let's go. This would be in the Subby save controller. Add resource item, the item path. This would be item dot ID. And if that was a lowercase, and how is that working? Huh. Should have been capital N. Okay. That should be ID. And then that updates dynamically, so we don't have to worry about that. But once I do this, this is kind of set in stone, and I'll have to make sure that never changes. But that should be good. We got the try-catch. Should probably make a note here. So if get nested in fails, it doesn't exist. So that'd be cool. Okay, and whoops, don't do that. We can get rid of the save game there because we don't want to do that. At this point, we do that. And if we end up outside of this at all, which I don't know how we would, I guess we don't need that there then. Okay, that looks good. Cool. Oh, that looks good. So I think we have the basis for our drop tables working. Let me do a quick sanity check here. So we got we need the jellies. So we have 2 of them. Okay. That one had 4. Why did that show up with 4? So if I collapse those, it's loading the save file. Huh, it's not console logging. I turned that off. Might have to bring that back. Okay, so if we sell all... Oh, I got rid of the save game, didn't I? I did. Wanted to make sure we were saving with the int values. Let's see. If that's an ID, that should also be a string, that way I don't have to cast it. That's right. Okay, and then I can make the ID non... Okay, yeah, we need to do string lookups. Dang it. Okay. That'll be fine. I'm not too worried about that. I want the key to be a string anyways. But let's look at... I think it would be in the player. Where is the player? There's the player. Glider hit. Trigger enter. That should let us know if there's something in here. Show inventory. I'm looking for adding life to cargo right here. Okay, so we don't want to do this one. We just want to log the cargo, or the life going into the cargo. let's see here. So if we clear this, collected 1. And we only have 1. Okay. Click the second log. Hey, the ducky. So this game is a I don't know if you've ever heard of the game Motherlode. It was an old Flash game from back in the day. This is kind of a underwater collect life on Jupiter's moon Europa, and there's all kinds of weird life. Right now we're not too far into development, but what the game is you go around collecting life. You take it up to the surface and exchange it. You get money and other items that drop from whatever life you collect. And then what you can do is you can go and upgrade your sub. Right now it's just programmer art, but there's different hulls, engines, shields, cargo bays, and whatnot. And depending on how far down you go, the hull starts taking damage, so you'll have to go up to the top and repair any damage to the sub. And you can, the more you upgrade the sub, the deeper you can go. There's going to be different biomes and stuff you can go collect stuff in. Right now it's just trying to get the basic mechanics working. And I'm currently tracking down an issue where if I run into any of the different life, so these ones are called the jellies, I was getting weird counting up issues where it was adding more than 1. So I'm trying to track that down and see if it's running into multiple or if it's something else. But the current plan is to have upwards of 100 different creatures that you can go collect. There's going to be boss battles. There's going to be a requirement where you have to have light to see what's on the screen. So the deeper down you go, the darker it gets, and then you're going to have a little bubble around you that emits light. And some of the creatures will be bioluminescent and whatnot. Let's see, let's grab a few of these. There's a little swordfish. Let's see, so we got all these guys. So total's 249. We can sell it. Critical error parsing. Ooh, that's a new one. Bug string to file. That's fun. What is this coming from? Here, I can copy it and put it in here. What is this? This is just player loop. That is not. This is something from my code. Doesn't look like it. Nope. Add item. Subby game controller, add item. Item and int. Yeah, I've been trying not to stray too far from the original idea. I mean, I came up with the idea back in, I want to say 2015, and it's one of those where I start it and then put it on the back burner because life gets in the way, and then come back to it. And this time I'm trying to stick with it and actually make a lot more progress and get it done. It's also letting me work on some of the core code. Like I've got this TJ the Programmer core that's just a shared library across multiple projects. And as I work on a project, I try to make sure that code stays consistent and reusable. That way, next time I want to make a game, I can just crank it out fast and not have to think about implementation. It's just use what works. And if I find a bug, it's fixed across all my other projects. So, but this one's, I loved playing Motherlode as a kid and sitting in a physics class. It's like, oh, hey, I could do a submarine game. And instead of paying attention in class, I was thinking of game dev. So that's kind of where the original idea came from. Yeah, it's a fun little project. I've done all the art and stuff myself. I'm using submodules. Just that's something I'm familiar with. I'm sure C# has a better way, though. I'm not 100% sure. But submodules work well if you know what you're doing, and I don't mind the extra overhead of just making sure pointers are in the right spot, and it's just easy to deal with for me. But right now, I think this project has, let's see, we've got 3 of them. So the core library has a JSON library that I wrote a wrapper around that has a bunch of nice features. And then it also has like a save controller, a language controller to update all the text on the screen and stuff. So that's just something that's part of this core library, and then the project itself. Big thanks to Finding Focus, just nagging some of your audience. Appreciate it. Let's see here. So we need to look at Subby game controller. So line, what was the line? 177. Add resource item, past item count. Okay. Why was this having a critical error parsing? Thanks, Finding Focus. Seriously, if you want to have Tashio in here, if you want to send me art for it, I can get him in here. Just like make a little fish or something, or like a gecko fish or something. We can totally make something like that happen. Let's see. Log format. It's debug log handler. Game controller 177. Add item int. That should be. Why is that not working? There we go. Easter egg would work. Let's see. Add a resource item. I wonder if. Let's see, where is the life exchange? Do. Yeah, we should only be invoking this if we have an item. So I don't see why, unless we do need that. probably what this is. Let's get that to recompile. Alright. I don't think I showed anyone recently what the shop looks like, so like I said, it's all programmer art at the moment. But these are the holes. We have the cargo bays, the fuel tanks, the engines, and the shields. It's just simple pixel art, nothing too crazy. But plans to expand this to also include like batteries and some weapons, and then there's going to be crafting later on with the materials that I'm working on with the drop tables currently. And then let's see, so we got that, clear the logs, sell, still an error parsing. Platforms, trace. That error is not specific enough. It is the same one we have here. Custom internal log. What's going on? Let's see here. And 177, so we game controller add item. Why is there a parse error? Log handler. So when we're in the game controller, we're calling the save controllers. Oh, unless past item. But we shouldn't be calling add item unless we have an item. Huh. Interesting. What is going on here? Critical error parsing line 177. That's this line. That's the past item scale. There's two of them. Interesting. What is going on here? Add resource items. That would be in here. Why do I have a feeling the try catch is wrong? Nope. Give me IntelliSense. Okay. What was the syntax for try catch? C#. Yeah, it should just be exception E. And that should catch anything. Let's see what we got. Run this. go and collect a few more things. There's another jelly. Okay, so if I clear this, sell all. Caught exception. Okay, so got an exception there. Is that something we need to worry about? Maybe not. I wonder if it's down. Is there any? So there's a log error on the read JSON file. Critical error part? Okay. Yeah, so this is just down in the code. Okay, I don't have to worry about that error. Awesome. That makes me feel a little bit better. So that... let's make note of that so don't go too crazy trying to track that down. Ooh, unreachable code detected. A save controller. What was that? Let's see. Unreachable code detected. Line 63. Ah, okay. Yeah, don't need that. It's declared never used. Let's see. If I have an parameterless catch, is that? Nope, that is not okay. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that too much. Fuel station. Okay. Not too worried about those for now. Let's see. Is there anything else that we need to do tonight? I feel like that was good progress. Yeah, I think this is a good point to call it for the night. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I'll have to go through and commit the code. There's a lot of changes here. Let's see what we got. That can be coming it out again. Man, there's a lot of stuff in here. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to think what future stuff I want to do. I've got a list off to the side here of things that I want to get into, and I've also got the design doc here. So let's see. There were a couple bugs. Nothing too crazy. Got things dropping. That looks right. Hmm. Yeah, I think we're good to go. So we've got materials adding to the save file, which that was a big one. Oh, that I don't think I actually got to test that. That was what I was working on. I don't think it actually got tested. Let me test that real quick before calling it for the night. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. All save game. Turn true. Okay, get this compiled. I guess I'll make sure this works first and then call it for the night. So what we should expect to see here is, once I actually update this, up here in the corner we've got the inspector for the material. Right now it's just we're calling it a scale. Probably be something else. It was just the first thing to test, but the ID I might just do scale all lowercase. Just as the ID. That should save. So if we go right now, the current drop table is just on the jellies. So we got a couple of these guys here. Let's jump over here real quick. I can show everyone what's going on just before we wrap up. So this items object here, this is what the save file looks like at the moment. We should be seeing scales with a lowercase s and a 1 show up here as soon as I sell one of these. So if I do that, we can see down here on the log, well, I guess I'm blocking it. It's this one here. It's saying save was a success, and we can see it formatted the save file. We've got scale with a lowercase s and a 1. So that looks good. If I go down and see if we can find another jelly here. Oh, there's a couple. Cool. I think initial speed for the sub when the game launches isn't going to be that fast, so just as a heads up to everyone that's watching. We've got 1 in the inventory, and then we have 3 here, so if I sell all, we should see 4. Yep, cool. Looks like everything is working there. So that's good. We can update the save controller. The game controller should be good. We added the add item event listener, and then here's the actual call. Don't need to have the debug log there anymore. I can actually just do that. Let's see, what else do we have? The life exchange. That was just some code cleanup and getting all that stuff working. So the game controller, we'll do here. Got rid of this line. Cool. We added in the scriptable object for the battery. Let's see, here's the engine. So I added in energy output for the engine. That's just kind of future planning. Fuel tank is going to have some extra properties to it. The hull is going to have some extra properties. Let's see what else we got. We got the drop table. Let's see. We got the shield. Okay, we got the metas for all of these. Build script. That should be fine. Oh, that's right. We got changes here too. This is in the core code, so we can stage all of these. Let's do updates to drop tables. Let's see what we got here. I think I prefer to do this from the command line. Let's see. Status. Okay, I'm not worried about those. Oh. Cool. Yeah, so that should be on the main branch. So here's another quick little thing that I found recently. You can go in here and either check out a detached head for any of your repositories, or you can force it to be on the main branch or develop or whatever, and it makes working with the submodules a lot easier if you just set it to main, because you can pull latest from that branch or develop, doesn't matter, whatever branch you're working on, you can pull straight from that, and you don't have to worry about pushing to like origin head main. You can just do a get pull and a get push. So if I were to go up and do a get status, now you can see, where is it? We should have, here it is. Here's the new pointer for it, so I can do a git add this. Let's see, what else do we need? Probably need to also pick up the meta files. Let's see, inventory, that's staged. I have been using Claude here just to kind of generate the game design documents too, so there's a bunch of other files here that were generated with doing some AI stuff. I've been trying to do as much core code myself, but brainstorming, something AI is pretty good for. So let's see, we got that, this. These all need to get added. Here's the pointer in this one. So if I do a get status, okay, that should be fine. Cool, there's the pointer. So here's all of the stuff that changed. Basically all the stuff that we worked on tonight. And let's get that committed. Updated to use your drop tables and items for the drop table. Awesome. Well, that should wrap it up. Appreciate everyone who was able to make it for the stream, and I guess till next time, we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.